Hey, happy Friday. Uh, what have we got on deck today? A little bit of jumping, an option for folks that have been doing the sprint stuff, and then kind of a long-ish mobility-based aerobic thingy. So warming up wise, we're gonna actually start a little bit different, and we're gonna go ahead and do some leg swings. First off with the feet, we wanna create that short foot position where I'm, hard to show here, but I'm basically contracting between a big toe joint and the heel, and also a little toe joint and the heel. I'm basically cupping the ground a little bit, creating the arch. So you want to get a nice 5 nice strong squeezes there, and really kind of tucking the hips, squeezing the glutes, and feeling that strong connection to the ground. It's basically our glute activation here. Far more functional and natural version than the old booty bands, lateral walk silliness. Okay. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and gripping in with one foot. We're going to begin working the leg swing. So I'm giving myself a target that I can hit. It can be same side. It can be opposite side. You want to give yourself a height you can actually hit, as opposed to sticking it up here and flailing the leg into empty space. It just takes the brakes off a little bit and lets your nervous system be a little more comfortable and gives you a little more range of motion. So we'll switch over to the same thing on the other side. We're looking at doing about 10. And you start on the second side, right? Lower the height. You know, if you finished here on this side, don't start here on this side. Pretty sure it's common sense, and all of you will have figured that out. But I have numerous times seen people do it the other way. So now we're going to side swings. We want that same thing, a target here. Oops. Balance can become a little tricky on these. You want to pick a spot out in front of you and be able to spot your eyes on, and the rest will kind of happen naturally if you kind of anchor your vision a little bit. Same thing on the other side, start low. And last one is the donkey kick. Now this one, besides making sure you're not going to kick anything behind you, ideally we're kicking and my back is staying flat. So commonly you see people arch their back on these, and we don't actually want to do that, because when the back does all the work and all the mobility, when we really want the hip to be doing. So I keep the hip locked down, the back locked down, and kick from there. So like you can do what I'm doing here, stick that hand in the low back, kick, and I can feel that my back is really not moving, and it's all coming out of the hip. 10 per side. Yeah. Check both sides. You might find that one side is fine, and the other side the back wants to do the work. And if you're doing it right, you'll feel mainly the pull through in here. Shouldn't really feel anything in the back. So next thing we're going to do is a little bit of light pogo hops here. So I've been working on these a bit. These we'll do little low amplitude ones here. Sometimes be very springy, not muscle based, just bouncing. Staying mostly nice and relaxed. You want the shoulder to really stay relaxed. Everything's very loose. Stop for a moment. Get some shoulder blade circles. Back the other way. Now we'll kind of do some asymmetrical tricks. So we do these typically, but you can also go one forward, one back for a little bit of a different feel. Work both directions there. Shake that up. And then as we go into the last part of the warm-up, we're going to turn to the pogo hops and do 3 rounds of 20 pogo hops, and then 3 per leg, single leg box jumps with an approach. So what is that? Let's look at that. I know you know the pogos. All right, so we have done some single leg box jumps. And that's something, we start fairly low. You're not going to jump very high on one leg. most likely, right? Single leg, I would stand on one leg. Again, box is kind of in my peripheral vision. I'm mostly looking forward. Jump and explode onto the box. Now with an approach, all that means is that I'm actually going to get a little start up to the box. So I'm going to walk, and jump. Oops, I just can't see the box there, went out of frame. Now this is something you could probably do onto something a fair amount higher. And unlike the other one where we're trying to land on one leg here, you can land on two, it's fine. So basically you'll have to time it out, but then you want to step into it and jump onto it. Okay. Doesn't have to be a run up. Of course, eventually this could be a run and plant. But all you're going to do is practice that. Walk up, explode. 3 on one side, 3 on the other. I'd suggest doing all 3 on one just to get the time. And then on the pogo hops, as you go through these, we really want to start increasing the amplitude. So one feels very springy and doesn't become squatty. You'll notice I'm really still straight up and down. I'm not starting to squat them. It's just ever progressively sharper punch through the ankle and a float. So 3 rounds, take your time, 30 pogo hops, rest a bit, 3 per side, single leg box jumps with that approach. And if you have the ability to change height and go up to higher boxes if you're getting comfortable, or higher ledge, definitely do so. Okay, go ahead and get that, and then we'll talk about part A. Part A, broad jumps. So this is some of the things we've done on Wednesday. If you can do this outside, that would be ideal, because what we're going to do is 5 jumps for distance, where you start at a mark, you jump and land, you stay where you landed, you jump again, etc. And so the 5 jumps get added together by the end, and then you want to take a good rest. And a good thing to do is if you mark where you were at the 5th one, try to go back and see if you can at least equal, if not exceed, your line by the end. It's tricky to do, and you have to rest a couple of minutes or you have almost 0 shot at doing it, because the broad jumps don't feel that fatiguing. Without resting a fair amount, you definitely don't get max power. And I would highly suggest a few seconds rest between reps too. Don't rush the reps, or you will definitely not get as far. So this, I would, suggest shoes, of course. You want to be in your regular stance. You're going to need to commit forward. We're going to swing, explode, and land, and hopefully not stumble like I did. That's a big fault I have. It's not getting my feet forward to catch it now. Get in a couple warm-up rounds before you go for the ones for full distance, and definitely just be safe with these. It's a safe movement, and we've done lots of squatting and loading, but depending on the grass, can be slip inside. Just be safe. If you don't have a spot outside, you can do them back and forth indoors. That's fine. So we want to get basically a total of 10, 2 sets of 5 really good broad jumps. Okay, and then hit pause. So part B has a couple options. So if you've been doing at least some of the Wednesday workouts and have had some exposure to this actual sprinting, you could pace off roughly 20 yards and do 3 to 4 sprints, taking about 1.5 minutes rest between each, and going for it. I would suggest building up. So the first 1 or 2 maybe isn't quite max, and then you try your max at the others. So from this position, we would be in that sprint start, which I'm going to be set up. I have a preferred foot forward. Fingers will be about even with the foot. My other hand will be back. And I'm going to drive and explode, pushing with both feet together as I head into my sprint. Right? And common mistakes I see, because most of us are way more endurance runner oriented than we are sprinters. Common mistakes I see: people's arms crossing their body. We want them in a nice straight line, basically thumbs by the eyebrows. And we want to step up and over an imaginary hurdle as opposed to that distance runner very low stride. If you haven't done any of the Wednesday night sprints, you can go out and run the short efforts if you want. I would suggest only a couple of these. That's an option. Otherwise, if you have rowers or things like that, you could do, it's not quite the same because a 20-yard sprint's only going to take several seconds. But you could do like a couple of 15-second row sprints or bike sprints or something like that. Or just a good set of like 6 or 7 jump squats for max height would be another way you could approximate this if you have not been doing any of the running. All right, do that, and then we'll do part C. Okay, last of the ones. We've got 3 rounds at aerobic pace. This one isn't really for time. You could try to nose breathe this or nose in, mouth out. They're basically a sustained pace. So an 800-meter run or any of the usual subs for that. And then we've got a bunch of like kind of core dynamic stuff that'll happen after each run. So you've got the twisting waiters press to windmill. Right? Everyone's done a ton of these twisting waiter presses by now. Press, rotate. However, once I get overhead, I'm going to windmill down and then stand back up. So it's press, then windmill. And fairly high rep. You're going to do 6 per side of that. So you pick a weight that is doable and you don't have to break up. Sets of 6. Then the second thing is going to be 8 per side dumbbell crossbody power snatch. So the crossbody power snatch, remember, is just, it's no different than a normal dumbbell snatch at start here. This one is just over by the other foot, so it has a little bit of that slight twisting piece to it. Now you can alternate, right? This arm, this side, switch here, this side. Again, it's not going to be super heavy, probably 35 pounds tops for guys, 25 tops for ladies, 8 per side of that. And then lastly will be the 10 hanging circular knee raises. So this is one we did in the benchmark, the last workout right here. Hang from your pull-up bar rings. You're going to have both knees tucked together and you're going to swing them around to one side, swing them back. And each time is, we count as a rep right here. 1, 2, etc. And make sure you breathe with those. As you tuck your knees up and compress, it's going to expel air. That's going to be your breath. So 3 rounds of that, 800-meter run, 6 per side twisting waiter press to windmill, 8 per side dumbbell crossbody snatch, 10 per circular knee raise. Nice and steady work. Another week down, and I will be looking forward to seeing you guys live again next week.